Hi everyone, I am so excited to be your guest teacher today. Today we're going to do one-step equations, which are just like what you were doing with your teacher before, but now there's decimals in there. And I don't want you getting freaked out by the decimal. It's the same thing, so it's the same steps. As long as you know your steps, you always have a calculator with you, so life is good. Just like in life, you'll always have a calculator on the side. So let's look at our first one to show you how easy this really is. So if I take my first one here, what I like to do is it's an equation, and I know it's an equation because there's an equal sign. So whenever there's an equal sign there, we want to keep them balanced. So what I do to remind myself of that equal sign is I draw a line. And what this line does is it tells me that that there's two opposite sides to this. So every equation is the same, where we want to get the very selfish letter. It always wants to be alone. It's like, this is my side, everyone else back away. So the y says this side, in this case it's the right side, this is my side, everything else back away. So what does it want to get rid of? What is on the same side of y that y doesn't want touching it anymore? Well, that would be that negative 5.6. So to always get rid of anything, you always do the opposite. So the opposite of negative 5.6 is positive 5.6. And you have to remember that whatever you do to one side of the brick wall, you do to the other side to keep it even. So I have to do positive 5.6 here. So I'm going to cross that out because those are opposites and opposites cancel out. Then I'll take my handy dandy calculator and I'm going to put in negative 11 plus 5.6. And that gives me negative 5.4 equals, and what's on the right side? Y, all by itself, which is exactly what you wanted. And that is my handy dandy answer. Just like that. I wish I could ask any questions, but we can't in this way. But you can always text or email me or your teacher and we'll figure it out from there. All right, so let's make sure that made sense. And let's move on to number 2 here. 2 goes up. All right, number 2 here. So we're going to follow the same exact rules where we're going to tell ourselves that there is a brick wall going down the center. And what I want to do is, what do I want to get by itself? I want to get the S by itself. So I want to get this by itself. Well, now it's on the left side. So the letter always wants to be by itself. So what's also on the left side that is messing with the S? It's that negative 5.7. But this time that negative 5.7 is touching the S. And you guys know what it means when they're touching? When they're touching, that means there's an invisible little multiplication symbol there. So whenever they're touching, it's multiplying. So I want to do the opposite of what it's doing to the S. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I want to divide away that number. So I want to divide away that negative 5.7. But whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So I'm going to divide by negative 5.7. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive, which is why we did that. So we can cancel that out. And then 5.7, 5.7 become, they cancel each other out, become 1. So they cancel each other out. And so now on the left side, what do I have left? On the left side, I just have the S left, which is what I wanted. And on the right side, I have 51.3 divided by negative 5.7. And I get negative 9. Negative 9. Bam, there's my answer. Whee! Questions, thoughts, feelings? All right, let's try it again. All right, number 3, what do we always start with? We always start with the brick wall. So there's my brick wall. Then I always look for my letter. My letter. Here's my letter. This is what wants to be by itself. Letters are very selfish. They always want to be alone. So if my H wants to be alone, what is messing with it that's not allowing that to happen? Well, what's messing with it is that divide by 6. That divide by 6 is messing with it. And you always have to do the opposite. So what's the opposite of dividing? The opposite of dividing is multiplying by 6. But whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we're going to multiply by 6. That looks like a subtraction sign there. We're going to multiply by 6. So these two cancel out. So what do I have left on the left side? The H, just like I want it, equals, handy dandy calculator. We have negative 5.3 times 6. And that gives me negative 5.3 times, don't forget that negative was not there last time, 6 equals negative 31.8. And if you accidentally got positive 31.8 like I originally got, I knew I did something wrong, because I know that when you're multiplying a negative times a positive gives you a negative. So that's how I knew I had done something wrong. And there is my handy dandy answer. All right. Once you're bored with me, you don't have to keep listening. All right, let's try the next one. Number 4. Number 4, what do I always start off with? We always start off with our brick wall. Oh, come on, there it is. And then what do we do next? Highlight the letter that wants to be by itself. So now that we know it wants to be by itself, it's on the right side, the D is right there on the right side. What do I need to get rid of so it can be selfish and be by itself? I need to get rid of the 4, correct? And what is the 4 and the D doing? It is dividing by 4. What is the opposite of divide by 4? Multiply by 4. What if you do one side? You do to multiply. Why is my multiplying always look like a minus sign? Multiply by 4. These ones cancel out. And so now I take my handy dandy calculator. It's all about calculators with decimals, which is fine. Architects use it, math teachers use it, doctors use it. Everyone uses a calculator. So 4 times negative 2.4 equals negative 9.6 equals the D's by itself. So now you know you are good. Yeah. Okay, let's try another one. Let's go with, are we done there? Oh, 5, there we go. All right, so what's always the first step, everyone? Brick wall. Second step, find out where your variable or your letter is. There's my variable or my letter. So if the Z wants to be by itself, what is messing with that? What is not allowing the Z to be selfish and all alone? It's that 6.8. And what is the 6.8 and the Z doing if they are touching? If they're touching, what they're doing is multiplying. And you always do the opposite when I'm trying to get rid of something with an equal sign. You always do the opposite. So the opposite of that would be dividing by 6.8. But whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So I'm going to divide by 6.8. So those cancel out. So I just have Z, just like I like it, equals, handy dandy calculator. And we have 40.8, which is a negative, divided by 6.8. That gives us negative 6. Negative 6. Bam, 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 bam. This is so hard when I can't talk to you guys. I really do like talking. All right, so let's look at Number 6. Are you sick of me yet? No, you're not. I know. All right, let's do number 6. First step, brick wall. Second step, find the variable. Now that I know where my variable is, what do I need to get rid of so that the A can be by itself? I have to get rid of the negative 5.2. And what is a negative 5.2 doing to the A if they're touching? It is multiplying. What do you do to get rid of it? The opposite, which is dividing. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. When you divide, 2 negatives become a positive. Those cancel out. Handy dandy calculatora. 31.2 divided by 5.2 negative is negative 6 equals the A is all by itself, just like I wanted it. Bam, 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 bam. My A kind of looks like a 9. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. All right. Let's try another one. First step, brick wall. Second step, look for your variable. Next step, what is messing with the variable? Because remember, the letter wants to be by itself. It likes kind of being alone or enjoys that, you know, where there's a lot of black, it likes being by itself. So what needs to move away from it? The negative 6.5, right? And because there's that plus sign in between, it's not touching, it's not multiplying, it's adding a negative 6.5. So it's the opposite of adding a negative 6.5 is a positive 6. Not 6.5, oh, 6.6. Everybody saw that. The opposite of that negative 6.6 is positive 6.6. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So we have a negative and a positive cancel out. We have negative 8 plus 6.6 is negative 1.4. Negative 1.4, which makes sense because 8 is bigger than 6 and 8's the negative, so it needs to be a negative. And the N is on the right side. Bam, 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 bam. All right. Oh, why do I keep doing that? All right. Next. All right. Step 1, brick wall. Step 2, find the variable. You always highlight the symbol on the left, not on the right. All right, now what's messing with that R? What's messing with that R is that plus 5.8. To get rid of it, you have to do the opposite. What's the opposite of plus 5.8? Minus 5.8. Whatever you do one side, you do to the other. So opposite cancels out. So now I have R on the left all by itself, just like I wanted it. And now I take my handy dandy calculator and I go 2.2 minus 5.8 equals negative 3.6. And some people don't like the phone calculator. There's ones online. You can even say it. Like I can say, let's see if it works. Ready? Hey Siri, what's 2.2 minus 5.8?
2.2 minus 5.8 is negative 3.6.
Boom. You can even talk to it, just in case the negative things and the minus confuse you. Just saying, it's awesome. Okay, and now I did it again. And finally here we have, all right, let's do it again. Oh, let's use Siri again too, that was fun. Okay, so we are going to brick wall. Find your variable. What's messing with that variable? That plus 2.6. What's the opposite of plus 2.6? Minus 2.6. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. These cancel out. Oh, you ready for Suri? Hey, Suri. What's 5.4 minus 2.6?
5.4 minus 2.6 is 2.8.
Hey, get it, Suri? 2.8 equals V. Can you imagine, like back in my day, I had to like use my fingers. I mean, the dinosaurs would kind of help out. I'd count the T-Rexes. It was a lot, guys. It was a lot back in my day. All right. And now number 10, first step. Brick wall. Find your variable. What's messing with that variable? That 4.6 is touching it, which means it's multiplying it. So you do the opposite, which is divide it away. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. All right, let's see. Hey, Suri. What's negative 27.6 divided by 4.6?
Negative 27.6 divided by 4.6 is negative 6.
A negative 6 equals B. I hope you had fun. Come hang out with me any other time. Bye, guys.